You look at yourself in the mirror, and for a moment, you don't recognize who's staring back, not because of how you look, your eyes or mouth or the shape of your face, but because something feels missing. You were never given a beginning, not one that felt entirely yours. Your story starts somewhere else, in places you barely remember, with people whose names you might have forgotten or were never told at all. And so, when someone asks, "Where are you from?" or "What's your family like?" you hesitate. You try to form an answer, but it slips through your fingers like sand, uncertain, incomplete. You are a question mark in your own story, existing between the lines of a narrative you never got to write. There is a quiet ache in growing up without roots, without the steady presence of those who should have known you first. It isn't always loud or dramatic, it doesn't come with obvious scars or clear-cut explanations. It lives in the spaces between words, in the way you watch others talk about their childhoods with certainty, while you sift through fragments, trying to piece together something whole. You learn early on that some questions don't have answers, that some stories begin in silence, and still, you search for meaning, for belonging, for anything that will make you feel real, even if only for a moment. You grow up believing that love is conditional, that people come and go, that stability is something you have to fight for rather than expect. And so, you build walls around yourself, careful not to let anyone get too close, afraid that if they do, they'll realize you're just a question mark pretending to be a sentence. But deep down, you long for connection, to belong to something, to someone, to a history that feels like it was always meant to be yours. Instead, you are left with echoes of what could have been, the lingering sense that you were never fully rooted anywhere. You spend years searching for pieces of yourself in places you hope will give you answers: old records, foster care files, scattered memories you've tried so hard to hold on to. You chase after fragments, hoping they will stitch together into something whole, something that proves you were never truly lost. But more often than not, you find silence, paperwork gone missing, names erased, stories altered beyond recognition. The system that was supposed to protect you feels cold and indifferent, its bureaucracy swallowing your past like dust settling on forgotten shelves. And so, you learn to live without closure, without the comfort of knowing. It is exhausting, this constant search for meaning in a life that has always felt unfinished. You try to convince yourself that you don't need the past to define you, that you can carve out your own future, independent of where you came from. But the truth is, you do need it. You need to know where you stand, to understand the foundation beneath your feet. Without it, you feel like a ghost drifting through a world that was never built for you. You are expected to move forward, to succeed, to thrive. But how do you build a life when you don't even know where your story begins? And yet, despite everything, you keep going. You learn to build your own sense of self, brick by fragile brick. Even when the foundation feels shaky, you take what little you have and turn it into something meaningful, even if it doesn't look like what others might call normal. You find strength in the resilience that was forced upon you, in the quiet determination that keeps you moving forward even when the path ahead is unclear. You are not defined by the absence in your life, you are shaped by it. Yes, but not broken by it. You are learning, slowly but surely, that being a question mark doesn't mean you have to stay unanswered forever. People talk about resilience like it's something you either have or you don't, like it's a trait you're born with, but they don't see the nights you spent staring at the ceiling, wondering if you'd ever stop feeling like an outsider in your own life. They don't know how many times you had to remind yourself that you mattered, that you deserved to take up space, even when the world seemed determined to erase you. Resilience isn't just about bouncing back, it's about holding on when there's nothing left to hold on to, about finding ways to keep going even when you feel like breaking apart. And you did that, again and again. Maybe no one ever told you how brave you are, how much courage it takes to live your life without the safety net that others take for granted. Maybe no one ever stopped to acknowledge the battles you fought in silence, the way you kept showing up even when you wanted to disappear. But you did. You survived. And now, you are doing more than just surviving. You are learning how to heal, how to reclaim your story, how to exist in a world that tried to make you feel invisible. That is not weakness. That is strength beyond measure. You have spent so much of your life searching for something outside of your self-approval, belonging, answers that might finally make you feel whole. But now, you are starting to understand that the most important thing you can do is turn inward, to listen to the quiet voice that has always been there, whispering beneath the noise. You are learning that you do not need permission to heal, that you do not need external validation to claim your worth. You are allowed to take up space, to demand love that does not fade, to seek out the people who will stay. You are allowed to grieve the past without letting it consume you, to honor the pain without letting it define you. And perhaps most importantly, You are learning that your story is not over. You are still writing it word by word, breath by breath, choosing to shape it with intention, with defiance, with hope. You are no longer just a question mark. You are a sentence forming, a voice rising, a presence that cannot be ignored. You are proof that survival is not the end, it is only the beginning. You look at yourself in the mirror once more, and this time, you see something different. Not just the gaps, not just the unanswered questions, but the strength etched into every line of your face. You see the person who endured, who refused to vanish, who carved out a place in a world that never made room for them. You see someone who is still becoming, still growing, still finding their way, but someone who is undeniably here. And maybe that is enough. Maybe, just maybe, you are finally ready to believe that your story matters.